They're playing very well right now.
Playing pretty well.
Yeah, they're playing very well. They beat Iowa State by 20-some the other night. They beat Oklahoma by 20-some. So they're playing very well right now at this time.
What's the difference?
Well, they're hitting shots. Their defense is creating more offense. They put so much pressure on you up the lanes, and that type of stuff turns you over, and they're finishing at the other end once they turn live ball turnovers.
You had a really tough time handling their guard.
Yeah, their guards put a lot of pressure on you. And we're going to do a better job getting open, and then eventually you got to go downhill on them. You just can't keep going sideways on them because they're going to turn you over. You got to get physical. They're going to get physical. You got to get physical back and get downhill.
First time you had them, you had your top scorer. This time you don't have your top scorer.
Yeah.
JJ's kind of becoming that.
Yeah, JJ's done a great job here, being thrown in as a starter at the 2 guard. I mean, she really was splitting time at the 1, and all of a sudden she's been thrown into 2. But I mean, since she's been starting, I think she's averaging around 15 points a game. So she's doing a great job, and she's getting great experience. This is great experience for her.
A little concerned. Teams are going to start game planning for her now. They're going to start taking her away, taking her out.
Sure. That's
starting to come, right? Are you talking her through that?
Yeah, she just got to learn to be intense all the time, get physical all the time. Sometimes, and they all do it, they get a little bit, I don't want to say soft, but they get lackadaisical a little bit. And they're not aggressive, and they're not sealing hard, and they're not, when they're being pushed, they're not pushing back, some of them. And you just got to get physical with them, and that's what Texas is going to do. No doubt in my mind, they're going to get very physical with her and all of our guards.
Interested to see how she handles that?
Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, she's come a long way. She'll continue to grow. I've said since we got her, she's going to be a really, really good player here. So we're very happy with her. Madison Smith's playing as hard as any player I've ever had, and she's she's picked her game up, and she's playing as hard as any point guard I've ever had in my career.
And she's had to.
Yeah.
Where are you at right now?
I feel bad for her. She got to play 40 minutes, and because JJ was her backup, and now I'm playing JJ at the 2, so it kind of made her put a lot more minutes. But she's playing so hard, and Esmeri is starting to get her quickness back. I just now have noticed she's getting her quickness back from COVID. So she was sluggish coming off of that and had no energy and nothing like that. But I've noticed the last 2 games that her quickness is starting to come back. So that's good to see.
Are you getting it from the hard play that Madison's giving you? Are you getting that from everybody you put in?
No, not consistent.
Okay.
There's times, again, even against Kansas, my goodness. I mean, you look at the Kansas game, we turned them over, I think it was what? 23 times, and we only had 10 turnovers. You look at the Kansas game, we had 18, 19 offensive rebounds. They only had like 9 or 10. I mean, those hustle plays, dead ball rebounds and that, we did a great job. Here's where the problem was against Kansas. We shot 20 more shots than Kansas did and got beat. We just didn't hit shots. There were some possessions we had 3 or 4 shots, and we missed layups, we missed right at the rim. We just didn't score the basketball, and it wasn't because hustle plays. I mean, all the stats I always look at: dead ball rebounds, how many times you turn them over. This team really is turning other teams over better than last year's team. So it's not like they're not playing hard and they're not getting it. We're just not making shots. We're just not executing on the offensive end. So that's frustrating, and it's frustrating to them too. But the effort is there. Like I said, Madison's playing so hard, and it's making the others. It starts with her, and we're just not hitting shots. We're just not, and that's not an excuse. It's reality, because when I always check the stats and the boxes, I look at those things, and you take 20 more shots. I mean, you get 23 offensive rebounds. I mean, that's a lot of second shots in a game.
Say the hustle and the effort is there. how's the team handling when you don't see the results?
Well, it's frustrating. I'll tell you what, it's frustrating. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying not to be frustrated too. I'm frustrated a little bit too. But you know what? Long as we play hard and the effort's there, you know, it's just a matter of hitting shots. You either hit them or you don't hit them. You know, you just hit them or you don't hit them. Now, coming up against Texas, we better take care of the ball because they'll turn us over if we're not aggressive with the ball. But not to turn us over, we got to get downhill. You cannot play finesse against Texas, and that's the way we used to be. You can't. You better get downhill on us to be effective.
How do you approach these, last 6 games? Do you just look for incremental improvement?
Yes.
Is that what you do?
I look for team improvement, individual improvement, and who's giving the effort, and you know, I also look at who wants to win, who is still playing hard, who still is competing. That stuff, you know, I haven't had a lot of these seasons.
I was going to say, the last time was 06, and you almost made it the NCAA tournament.
Right, I haven't had a lot of these seasons, but I think when I was at Salem, I had one.
Yeah.
And the one I had, I kicked all 5 starters off.
You don't have that issue, though, do you, with this group?
No.
Yeah, it's not the problem.
It's not that.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know, man. Like I said, right now I'm looking at effort, I'm looking at desire, I'm looking at who's still competing to win, who's still upset when we don't win,
Mm-hmm.
who's not upset. I mean, I look at all that stuff right now. I'm evaluating right now.
Mm-hmm. You know, I think back to that 06 team, the last time you were in this, you almost beat Connecticut to change.
Oh yeah, it was a 1-point
You
game.
had like 5 or 6 players you're down to.
Yeah, but it was a 2-point game with a minute something to go.
I know.
Yeah. But see, that's what I always, you know, nobody wants to have a losing season. Nobody wants to lose and all that. But when this has happened in the past, like I said, one time at Salem and one time here, man, I really started evaluating a lot more for everything's going well.
So you came out of it on the backside a lot better than you were going into it.
Yes, that, you know, once circumstances happen. I mean, let's look at this. Let's look at Esmery, for example. She hadn't got her knee cleaned up this summer, so it sat her out about 4 or 6 weeks. All right, and then she comes back, and then she gets COVID. Well, then she hasn't recovered from that. She just now starting to recover that. Okay, you lose your leading scorer in KK. You start out the season pretty good. We had probably one of the toughest non-conference schedules we've had since I've been here. So you got out of that okay. You should have beat BYU. You lost on the last second, but we got out of that okay. And then, you know, things started happening. The COVID, the injury, but that's no excuse. I like that a majority of them are playing hard. I mean, it's easy for me to sit up here and be negative, but
yeah.
I don't look at that right now. I mean, they're still making good grades in class. They're still going to class. They're playing hard and that. They're just not hitting shots.
Giving the effort in practice?
Yeah, they're just not hitting shots. And the effort is there in every practice. And Madison Smith and those girls are great leaders. And, you know, when you have your captains playing the hardest, it helps the other people.
You mentioned Esmery. I mean, you were counting on her to be a Big 12, all Big 12 type player.
Yeah.
And she has that ability.
Yes. I'm not disappointed in her.
Yeah.
I think she went through a lot. Like I said, the knee surgery and then the COVID and then all that. And then she lost weight. She, you know, and just she couldn't get up and down the floor because of all that. I mean, I think if she has a big summer this year, she's going to be right back, if not better, than what she was before. And that's the thing to me. When I come off these summers, are going to be hell. I mean, summers, we're going to get after it in the summers. We're not going to do this again.
It's been a little bit snake bitten, you think, a little bit this year?
Yeah, but
that's just part of it.
That's part of the game. You're in here long enough, like I am. I mean, I've been a head coach for so many years. It evens out. I mean, some seasons you're really lucky. You know what I mean? You have no major injuries and you hit some shots you should hit. You win games you probably shouldn't have won. It evens out. And that's why, you know, you don't want to tell the player, you don't want to get too high, too low after a season. I mean, next year could be totally the other way. You just don't know. And you know, fans and everybody else, shoot, you guys stink, you guys, you know. Well, you know what? We're running the same things we run when we won 20-some last year and finished second in the conference.
Right.
Just not hitting shots. We're just not scoring.
Last thing here on offense, do you simplify things to try to help them?
Yeah, I even went to a motion game. I pulled things out from Salem days. I went
Right.
motion game. I went 3 out, 2 in. I mean, I've just tried everything that I've done in the past, just trying to get them to, you know, get them in good situations to score.
Uh-huh.
And you know, we get some good situations. Some games we're not consistent with everybody. We'll have a couple that are hitting, and you know, and then the others aren't, and then vice versa the next game and that. But I like our ball movement now. I like, you know, what we're doing. I mean, defensively, we probably pressed the other day more than we have in a long time. And I had girls getting cramps and all that, but they gave me the effort. I mean, it just, I'm not mad. I mean, everybody thinks you ought to be mad and they're terrible. They're not terrible. We got a good team. We're just not scoring points, and the girls are playing as hard as they did last year.